I knew something was wrong the moment I saw my brother's truck in my driveway. I'd driven 4 hours from the city to check on the lake house, the one our grandmother left me when she passed last year. The one Tyler had always believed should have been his. I parked beside his mud-splattered Ford and felt my stomach tighten. He wasn't supposed to be here. Nobody was. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the living room had been completely rearranged. Gran's antique furniture, the pieces I'd carefully preserved, were shoved against the walls. Tyler's hunting gear cluttered the coffee table. Beer cans lined the kitchen counter. And there, sprawled across Gran's handmade quilt on the couch, was my brother, scrolling through his phone like he owned the place. Tyler. My voice came out sharper than I intended. What are you doing here? He didn't even look up. What does it look like? I'm living here. You're what? Living here. He set his phone down, finally meeting my eyes. Mom signed the house over to me last month, so technically, you're the one who shouldn't be here. The air left my lungs. Mom didn't own this house. Gran left it to me. In her will. Tyler smiled. Not a friendly smile, the kind that made my skin crawl. Yeah, about that. Turns out there was a newer will. One you didn't know about? Mom helped me file it with the county 2 weeks ago. That's impossible. Is it? He stood, stretching like he had all the time in the world. Check with the probate court if you don't believe me. I've got all the paperwork, notarized and everything. I pulled out my phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. I called my mother. She answered on the third ring, her voice sugary sweet. Sweetheart, how are you? Mom, Tyler says you helped him file a new will for Gran's house. Tell me that's not true. Silence. Then a sigh. Honey, your grandmother changed her mind before she passed. She wanted Tyler to have the lake house. You have your career, your apartment in the city. Tyler needs this. She didn't change her mind. I was with her every day in the hospital, she told me. She was on a lot of medication, dear. She wasn't thinking clearly. Mom's tone shifted, colder now. Tyler has the legal documents. If you can't accept that, well, that's not my problem. The line went dead. I stood there in my grandmother's living room, staring at my brother, who'd gone back to his phone like the conversation was over. You need to leave, I said quietly. Actually, you do. He didn't even glance up. I'm filing an eviction notice next week. Gives you 30 days to collect whatever you think is yours. After that, anything left behind becomes mine. I drove back to the city in a daze. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Tyler had always been Mom's favorite, the son who could do no wrong. Even when he dropped out of college, even when he burned through 3 jobs in 2 years, even when he asked Gran for money every time he visited. But this was beyond sibling rivalry. This was theft. By the time I pulled into my apartment parking garage, I'd made a decision. I wasn't rolling over. Not this time. The next morning, I walked into the offices of Chen & Associates. Sarah Chen had handled Gran's will. If anyone would know about a second document, it would be her. Sarah's face went pale when I explained what Tyler claimed. That's not possible, she said, pulling up her files. Your grandmother came to me specifically because she wanted to make sure the lake house went to you. She was very clear about it. We drafted the will, she signed it, 2 witnesses signed it, and I filed it with the probate court myself. Could she have gone to a different lawyer after? Anything's possible, but Sarah's fingers flew across her keyboard. Let me check the court records. 5 minutes later, she turned her monitor toward me. There. That's your grandmother's will. Filed 14 months ago. No amendments, no codicils, no changes. But Tyler said, then Tyler is lying. Sarah's expression hardened, or someone filed fraudulent documents. Either way, this is serious. Let me make a call. She dialed the probate court clerk's office. I listened as she explained the situation, her voice professional but increasingly tense. When she hung up, her jaw was set. There's a second filing, 2 weeks ago. Exactly like Tyler said. A document claiming to be your grandmother's final will and testament, leaving the lake house to Tyler. She paused. The signature doesn't match the one on file with me. My heart hammered. What do? We go to the courthouse. Right now. The county courthouse was a 40-minute drive. Sarah called ahead, speaking to someone named Margaret in the clerk's office. By the time we arrived, Margaret had pulled both documents the original will Sarah had filed, and the new one Tyler claimed was legitimate. Margaret was a woman in her 60s with reading glasses on a chain and the no-nonsense air of someone who'd seen every scam in the book. She laid both documents side by side on her desk. See here? She pointed to the signatures. These aren't even close. I leaned in. Gran's signature on Sarah's will was shaky, but clear the result of arthritis, but still distinctly hers, with the looping G and the way she always crossed her T's twice. The signature on Tyler's document looked like someone had traced it quickly. The pressure uneven, the letters too smooth. "It's a forgery," I whispered. "A bad one," Margaret agreed. But that's not the worst part. She tapped the notary seal. "This notary stamp? Reported stolen 6 months ago from an office in Bridgeton." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Who filed it?" Margaret pulled up her computer. "Says here it was filed by Patricia Reeves, my mother's name." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of Margaret's desk to steady myself. "She came in personally," Margaret continued, scrolling through notes. "Brought the document, said she was the executor of her mother's estate, needed to file the updated will. We have cameras. I can pull the footage if needed." "Please," Sarah said. "We're going to need everything you have." An hour later, I sat in Sarah's car in the courthouse parking lot, watching the footage on her tablet. There was my mother, clear as day, walking up to the clerk's window with a manila folder, handing over the forged will, smiling as she chatted with the clerk, acting like she had every right to be there. I felt sick. "We need to file a fraud report," Sarah said gently. "This is a criminal matter now. She's my mother. She forged legal documents and filed them with the court. She helped your brother attempt to steal your inheritance." Sarah's voice softened. "I know this is hard, but if we don't act, Tyler keeps the house." I closed my eyes, thought about Gran, who'd spent every summer teaching me to fish off the dock, who'd left me the house because she knew I'd take care of it, who'd trusted me. Then I thought about Tyler's smug face, Mom's cold voice on the phone. "Do it," I said. Sarah made the call to the sheriff's department. Within 20 minutes, a deputy arrived, a tall woman named Officer Rodriguez, with kind eyes and a badge that caught the afternoon light. "Walk me through this," she said, pulling out a notepad. I told her everything. The discovery of Tyler at the house, the phone call with Mom, the forged will, the stolen notary seal. Sarah provided the documents, the signature analysis, the surveillance footage. Officer Rodriguez's expression grew grimmer with each detail. "This is textbook fraud," she said finally. "And because it involves court documents and stolen seals, it's a felony. I'm going to need to bring your mother and brother in for questioning." My throat tightened. "When?" "Today, if possible. The sooner we move, the harder it is for them to destroy evidence." She looked at me carefully. "I know this is family. Are you sure you want to proceed?" I thought about the lake house, about Gran's quilts and her laughter and the way she'd held my hand during her last days and whispered, "Take care of the house, sweetheart. It's yours." About how Mom had sat at that same bedside and nodded along, then turned around and helped Tyler steal it. I'm sure. Officer Rodriguez made 2 calls, the first to the sheriff's office, requesting backup, the second to the district attorney's office, alerting them to the case. "Your mother and brother are likely still at the lake house," she said. "I'd like you to come with me. We'll need you to confirm they're in possession of the property." The drive back to the lake felt surreal. Sarah followed in her car. Officer Rodriguez drove steady and calm, occasionally speaking into her radio. "Backup was en route, another deputy," she explained. "Standard procedure for potential confrontations." When we pulled into the driveway, Tyler's truck was still there. So was Mom's silver sedan. "Stay behind me," Officer Rodriguez instructed. She approached the front door and knocked, firm and official. Tyler opened it, beer in hand. His face went from annoyed to confused to panicked in the span of 3 seconds when he saw the uniform. "Tyler Reeves?" Officer Rodriguez asked. Yeah? I'm going to need you to step outside. Is Patricia Reeves here as well?" Mom appeared behind Tyler, her face tight. "What's this about?" "Ma'am, I need both of you to step outside." The color drained from Mom's face. Tyler, to his credit, tried to play dumb. "I don't know what you're talking about. I have the will right here." He moved to grab something from the coffee table, but Officer Rodriguez held up a hand. "Don't touch anything. Step outside, please." A second patrol car pulled up. Deputy Martinez, a stocky man with a crew cut, joined us. Between them, the 2 officers guided Mom and Tyler outside. I stood by Sarah's car, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. "Mrs. Reeves," Officer Rodriguez said, "did you file a will with the county probate court on November 18th? Mom's lips pressed into a thin line. "I filed my mother's will. Yes, as executor." "Were you aware that the document you filed had a forged signature and a stolen notary seal?" Silence. Tyler looked at Mom. Mom stared straight ahead. I'm going to need you both to come to the station for questioning, Officer Rodriguez continued. You're not under arrest at this time, but I strongly advise you to cooperate. This is ridiculous, Tyler burst out. That will is real. Gran wanted me to have this place, she told me. Your grandmother never changed her will, I said, stepping forward. My voice shook but held. Sarah Chen has the original. The court has the original. The document you filed is a fake. Tyler's face went red. You're lying. Mom, tell her. But Mom wasn't looking at him. She was looking at me, and for the first time I could remember, she looked afraid. You're really going to do this? She asked quietly. You're going to have your own mother arrested? You forged Gran's signature. You used a stolen notary seal. You tried to steal my inheritance. My hands clenched into fists. What did you think would happen? I thought you'd understand. Tyler needs help. He's struggling. So you committed fraud? We're family, her voice cracked. Family takes care of each other. Family doesn't steal from each other, Mom. Officer Rodriguez cleared her throat. Mrs. Reeves, Mr. Reeves, you need to come with us, now. The ride to the sheriff's station felt like it lasted hours, though it was only 20 minutes. Sarah drove me. We didn't talk. I stared out the window, watching the trees blur past, trying to process what was happening. At the station, Officer Rodriguez led Mom and Tyler to separate interview rooms. Sarah and I were shown to a waiting area with uncomfortable plastic chairs and fluorescent lights that hummed too loud. They'll want your statement, Sarah said. Just tell them exactly what happened. Don't embellish. Don't leave anything out. I nodded, numb. A detective arrived. Detective Walsh, a tired-looking man in his 50s with coffee stains on his tie. He led me to a small room with a recording device and asked me to walk through the timeline. I did, my voice mechanical, finding Tyler at the house, the phone call with Mom, the visit to Sarah's office, the forged will, the surveillance footage. And you're certain your grandmother never expressed a desire to leave the property to your brother? Detective Walsh asked. Positive. She told me repeatedly, up until the day before she died, that the lake house was mine. He made notes, asked more questions, finally nodded. We'll be filing charges against both your mother and brother. Forgery, filing false documents, attempted fraud. Given the value of the property, these are felony charges. My stomach dropped. Felony. Criminal record. Possible jail time. How long? I asked. Hard to say. Could be probation, could be a year or more, depending on the DA and the judge. He paused. I know this is your family. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Gran's house, about the summers we'd spent there, just her and me, about the way she'd taught me to make her blueberry cobbler, about the creaky board on the porch she always meant to fix but never did, about how she'd held my face in her hands before she died and said, "You're stronger than you know, sweetheart." Yes, I said. I'm prepared. The next 3 days were a blur. Sarah filed an emergency injunction, preventing Tyler from occupying the property while the case proceeded. Mom and Tyler were both released on bail but ordered not to contact me or go near the lake house. The local news picked up the story, mother and son accused of forging will to steal inheritance, and suddenly my phone wouldn't stop ringing. I ignored most of it. But I did drive back to the lake house, alone this time, and spent an afternoon putting it back together. I moved Gran's furniture to where it belonged, threw out Tyler's beer cans, washed the quilt he'd been sleeping on, sat on the porch and watched the sun set over the water. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I can't believe you're doing this to us. After everything we've done for you. Mom. I deleted it without responding. 3 weeks later, the case went before a judge for a preliminary hearing. Sarah represented me. Mom and Tyler had hired a lawyer, a slick guy in an expensive suit who tried to argue the will mix-up was an honest mistake, a misunderstanding. The judge wasn't buying it. The evidence is clear, she said, peering over her reading glasses at Mom and Tyler. The document you filed was forged. The notary seal was stolen. This was a deliberate attempt to defraud the court and the rightful heir. She turned to their lawyer. I'm moving this to trial. Bail conditions remain in effect. As we left the courthouse, I saw Mom in the hallway. She looked smaller somehow. Older. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but I walked past without stopping. The trial took 4 months to schedule. In that time, I moved into the lake house permanently, quit my job in the city, found remote work I could do from anywhere, started fixing up the place, replaced the creaky porch board, painted the shutters, planted flowers in Gran's old garden boxes. Mom tried to call twice. Tyler sent angry emails. I blocked them both. When the trial finally came, it lasted 3 days. The prosecution presented the forged will, the signature analysis, the stolen notary seal, the surveillance footage of Mom filing the documents. Sarah testified about Gran's original will. Margaret from the clerk's office testified about the filing. I testified about finding Tyler at the house, about Gran's final wishes. Mom's lawyer tried to paint it as a family dispute blown out of proportion. Tried to claim Mom had been manipulated by Tyler, that she didn't understand what she was doing. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Mom got 18 months in prison, suspended to probation and community service given her age and lack of prior record. Tyler got 2 years, with the possibility of parole after 1. Both were ordered to pay restitution, not that I wanted their money, but the court insisted. I didn't attend the sentencing. Sarah called me with the verdict. I sat on Gran's porch, watching the lake, and cried, not from sadness exactly, but from the sheer weight of it all finally lifting. That night, I went through Gran's things one more time, found an old photo album I'd missed before. Pictures of her and me at the lake, summer after summer. Me, learning to swim. Me holding up my first caught fish. Me and her baking in the kitchen, flour everywhere. On the last page, tucked into the sleeve, was a note in her handwriting. To my darling granddaughter, this house has always been full of love because you were in it. Take care of it. Take care of yourself. And remember, you're stronger than you know. Love always, Gran. I held the note against my chest and let myself cry for real this time. For Gran, who I missed every day. For the family I'd lost, even if they'd made their own choices. For the person I'd had to become to fight for what was mine. But mostly, I cried from relief. Because I'd fought, and I'd won, and Gran's house, my house, was safe. The lake glittered in the moonlight. Somewhere in the distance, an owl called. I sat on the porch until dawn, surrounded by everything Gran had left me, and finally felt like I was home.